If I were you, I wouldn't ignore this video, because what you don't know about the Trump tax reform and the new US Law 2025 could cost you thousands. No joke. While most people are scrolling past the headlines, blind to what's actually changing, others are quietly adjusting their finances, cutting taxes, and locking in benefits that most Americans won't even hear about until it's too late. You can either stay ahead of the system or be buried by it. Hi, I'm Richard Blake, and if you care about your money, your future, and your freedom, especially in this unpredictable economy, then stick with me. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the real story behind these new laws. We're not just talking about small adjustments. We're talking about a complete rewrite of the game. Tax breaks for workers, overtime becoming tax-free, retirement accounts vanishing, and even your electric bill being used to squeeze more money out of your pocket. But there's opportunity hiding in this chaos. That's the thing no one's telling you. These reforms are brutal for the unprepared, but they're gold for those who know how to move fast, adapt smart, and position themselves before the dust settles. And I'm here to show you exactly how to do that. Not with political fluff, not with fear, but with clarity, strategy, and examples you can apply today. There's something oddly satisfying about seeing a tax law that actually favors the little guy for once. The new US law of 2025 continues some of the most impactful parts of the Trump tax reform, including lower tax brackets for the middle class. But what's new, and honestly quite surprising, is the temporary break on overtime pay and tip income. That's right, servers, bartenders, and anyone clocking those extra hours might finally get a bit more breathing room come tax season. But here's the catch. If you're earning over $150,000, this party isn't for you. These benefits start phasing out fast. It's a clear sign the reform is trying to throw a lifeline to lower income earners, especially those in the service industry who've been hit hard by inflation and rising living costs. Imagine a single mom waitressing nights. This change could mean groceries without swiping a credit card again. For someone making $35K a year, this isn't small change. It's dignity. Still, there's a quiet urgency behind these temporary changes. They're set to expire again in 2028, meaning this window of opportunity is wide open, but not for long. And while many are celebrating these tax breaks for workers, others are already whispering about what's coming next in areas like car loans and education. On paper, a $10,000 deduction for car loan interest sounds like a dream, right? But there's a twist. It only applies if the car was assembled in the US. That means if you bought that shiny Toyota made in Japan or a BMW from Germany, you're out of luck. It's a clever nudge to boost the domestic auto industry, especially brands like Ford, Chevrolet, and Tesla. But how much does it really save the average buyer? Let's break it down. The average American pays between $1,200 to $2,000 in interest per year on a car loan. With this deduction, a basic taxpayer might save a few $100, tops. Helpful? Sure. Life-changing? Not exactly. But for someone financing a larger vehicle or juggling multiple expenses, every dollar counts, especially with inflation and US debt squeezing household budgets tighter each month. Still, this incentive signals something bigger. Washington wants to reward patriotic spending. It's less about generosity, more about steering behavior. And with student loans entering the conversation next, where the consequences go far beyond tax deductions, we're about to see a much deeper impact on how people borrow and how much they're even allowed to. The days of unlimited student borrowing are officially numbered. Under the new US Law 2025, graduate students can borrow up to $100,000, and those studying law or medicine up to $200,000. On one hand, it's a smart move to curb the student loan crisis that's ballooned out of control. On the other hand, it's going to force a lot of students to make tough calls earlier in life, like choosing between a dream school or a realistic one. For students banking on Graduate Plus loans, this feels like a cold splash of reality. These caps aim to prevent young professionals from graduating with $300K in debt and zero clue how to pay it off. And let's be honest, how many 24-year-olds truly understand compound interest? This reform wants to hit pause on the cycle of lifelong repayment and create a clearer path to financial independence. But here's the kicker. Universities may not adjust tuition in response. So unless you're ready to hunt scholarships, work part-time, or attend in-state programs, you'll need a serious plan B, especially for families already relying on child tax credits or healthcare support. The ripple effect of financial reform is just getting started. It might seem small, but a $200 increase in the child tax credit from $2,000 to $2,200 can make a big difference for families scraping by. Starting in 2026, the credit will adjust annually for inflation, which is a smart move given how prices keep rising faster than paychecks. Diapers, school supplies, utility bills, nothing is getting cheaper. This reform, at least in theory, wants to help parents breathe a little easier. But there's a catch. If your income is too low, you might not get the full benefit. And that's where the system still stings. Many low-income families don't earn enough to owe much in taxes, so they miss out on the full refund. It's like offering someone food but not giving them a plate. That creates a deeper divide between working-class families and those just above the poverty line. It's a reminder that tax policy isn't always black and white, especially when you throw in complex rules and fine print. And while parents may be grateful for a few $100 more, those relying on SNAP benefits or Medicaid may soon face far more than just technical limitations. Let's not sugarcoat it. $800 billion in cuts to Medicaid over 10 years is massive. And it comes with stricter rules, more paperwork, tighter eligibility, and mandatory work requirements. The idea is to encourage independence, but for someone juggling 3 part-time jobs just to keep food on the table, this feels less like help and more like a trap. The system's safety net is being trimmed, and millions could fall through the gaps. And SNAP benefits, what most still call food stamps, aren't safe either. The new mandates mean recipients will need to prove they're working more often or risk losing access. The logic sounds firm: no work, no benefits. But real life isn't that neat. What happens if you're caring for a sick parent or your shifts get cut with no warning? These reforms don't leave much room for nuance or compassion. What's alarming isn't just the scale of the cuts, but the message behind them. Benefits are becoming harder to get, not easier. And while government spending shrinks in these areas, it's quietly shifting elsewhere, into energy, oil, and industry. Which brings us to a transformation most households will start to feel, not in Washington, but on their next utility bill. America's energy game is changing course, fast. Under the 2025 reforms, funding is being pulled from green initiatives and pumped back into oil, gas, and nuclear energy. For energy independence? Sure, but also for profit. Homeowners expecting more rebates for solar panels or electric upgrades may want to hit pause. Those tax credits are getting slashed. It's a rollback that feels more like 2010 than 2025, but there's more. A new set of utility surcharges based on usage is already being tested. In simple terms, the more you consume, the more you pay, not just in dollars, but in penalties. It's a behavior tax, and it's going to hit hardest in states with extreme weather, like Texas or Arizona. That AC you need to survive the summer? It's about to cost you more than just electricity. It's a pivot with consequences. Less incentive for eco-friendly investments, more reliance on traditional energy sources, and rising monthly costs. And while some applaud the move for job creation, others see it as a short-term gain with long-term losses, especially when you zoom out and look at how retirement, savings, and inflation are shifting the very idea of financial security. One of the boldest moves in this new law, the Roth IRA elimination, at least through the back door. By 2026, that option disappears for high earners. In its place, we get the TRSA, the Trump Retirement and Savings Account. It sounds flashy, but it's designed to favor upper-income earners with more disposable income. The average American? They'll need to play by a new rule book just to keep pace. What's interesting is how this aligns with the overall tone of the reform. More breaks for those who already have financial leverage. Tax-deferred growth, bigger contributions, and fewer withdrawal restrictions make the TRSA attractive, if you can afford to max it out. But here's the twist. All this adds fuel to the fire of national debt. Over $3 trillion is being added, and that means inflation isn't just possible, it's expected. So, where does that leave everyday savers? Many are turning to hard assets, gold, land, even Bitcoin, as inflation hedges. It's the kind of move financial pros whisper about at dinner parties. But now, even average folks are waking up to the idea that traditional retirement might not cut it anymore, especially with the US economy in 2025 evolving faster than our financial playbooks can keep up. Now that you've seen what's really happening behind these so-called reforms, let me ask you something. Are you just going to sit back and hope for the best? Or are you going to take control of your finances while everyone else is still distracted by headlines and noise? Because here's the truth. The ones who win in times like these aren't always the smartest. They're the fastest to adapt. So, which side are you on? Are you positioning yourself to benefit from the Trump tax reform, the TRSA retirement account, and these new rules on tax breaks for workers? Or are you watching opportunities fly by while the system quietly reshapes your future? You don't need to be rich. You just need to be aware and bold enough to act. If this video opened your eyes, even a little, then do something about it. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and stay connected. I'll be here breaking things down, step by step, as new changes unfold. You deserve more than confusion. You deserve clarity. Let's build that together, one smart decision at a time.